10 questions that make any woman go crazy for you. Psychology tricks. Many men believe that flowers, compliments, or smooth lines will win a woman's heart. But here's the cold truth: none of these make you unforgettable. What truly etches you into her mind are the questions you ask. The ones that slip past her defenses and make her feel like you see something no one else has ever noticed. Master this, and you no longer have to chase her. She'll chase you in her mind, replaying your words when she should be asleep. As Seneca once said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and that isn't just about hardships, it's about desire. When you capture a woman's imagination, her attraction to you grows far beyond reason. Most men never reach this level, but you will. Today, I'm going to give you 10 questions that, when asked at the right time, cut through the surface level chatter and ignite something deep inside her. These aren't pickup lines, they are psychological triggers based on understanding human nature, sharpened by philosophy, and proven in real world dynamics between men and women. Why does this matter? Every woman tests men. She wants to know if you're just another guy or someone unforgettable. The quickest way to show her that you're different is by asking questions she's never heard before. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When you ask the right questions, you dye her thoughts with you. Have you ever noticed how some men barely speak, yet women can't stop thinking about them? It's not magic, it's strategy. And now I'm handing you the playbook to master it. Question 1. What's something you've never told anyone but secretly wish someone would ask you about? To truly captivate a woman, you need to ask the right questions. Not just any questions, but the ones that break through the surface and delve into the depths of her soul. Take this one, for example. What's something you've never told anyone but secretly wish someone would ask you about? This question isn't just clever, it's powerful. Every person carries around a secret, a piece of themselves they keep hidden, whether it's a long-forgotten dream, a regret they can't shake, or a truth they've never shared. When you ask her this question, you invite her to open up in a way no one else has. It's a psychology trick that taps into a deep emotional core. Most men ask shallow questions like, "What's your favorite color?" or "Do you like movies?" These questions are forgettable, leaving nothing but the slightest trace. But when you ask about something deeper, you trigger a response that makes her feel understood and seen in a way most men never will. Take Tom, for example. A 48-year-old man, divorced and venturing into the world of dating younger women. At first, he thought he needed to impress with tales of his career success, expensive vacations, and his sculpted body. But when he asked this one question over dinner, the dynamic changed. She leaned in, her eyes softened, and she opened up about a dream she'd kept locked away since childhood. That moment wasn't about Tom's money or achievements. It was about the trust and connection they shared in that fleeting conversation. From that night on, she couldn't stop texting him. Not because he was perfect, but because he was the only man who'd ever asked the right question, the one that unlocked a part of her she had long hidden. This is where understanding female psychology becomes essential. When a woman opens up about her deepest secrets and emotions, she becomes emotionally invested in you. She associates that vulnerable moment with you. Human beings are wired to trust those who don't judge them for their truths, but hold them with care and respect. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to ask the right questions at the right moment. This is a powerful psychology trick, a way to make her think of you long after your conversation has ended. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." A good man doesn't have to boast or impress with superficial gestures. A good man is courageous enough to ask the question others are afraid to ask. He listens without judgment, showing empathy and genuine curiosity. That's what makes a man unforgettable. So, the key takeaway here is simple yet profound. Stop asking the same tired questions that every other man asks. Go beyond the surface and ask the questions that no one else dares to ask. That's the moment you'll enter her mind, and once you're there, you'll stay. This is how you can truly connect with her on a deep emotional level, making her fall for you in a way no one else can. It's all about psychology tricks and understanding the power of conversation. By mastering the art of asking meaningful questions, you'll tap into the very essence of how to fall in love and make her crave more of you. Question 2. When was the last time you felt truly alive? This question is not just a conversation starter, it's a game changer. It slices through the monotony of her daily grind and pushes her to remember the essence of what it feels like to truly be alive. Women, like most people, get stuck in routine, the never ending cycle of work, school, and scrolling through lifeless screens. Men talk to them, sure, but how many men actually awaken something deeper within her? Few. By asking this question, you tap into something primal. You force her to reconnect with the fire that once burned within her, the fire that has been dimmed by years of predictable routine. You ask her to remember moments that made her heart race, that made her feel limitless, invincible. Those are the moments she's been missing, and now you've brought them back to her mind. You've linked yourself to that exhilarating feeling, and now she can't help but think of you whenever she recalls those memories. Take Michael, for example. At 52, he was anxious about dating younger women, fearing they'd see him as too old or, worse, boring. But during a coffee date, he asked this one question, and everything changed. She paused, her eyes sparkled with thought, and then she started talking. She recalled a spontaneous trip she'd taken with friends years ago, a trip that lit up her spirit and made her feel truly alive. Her smile grew wider, her energy shifted, and for the rest of the date, she looked at him differently. Not as an older man, but as someone who could bring that excitement and thrill back into her life. That moment, that question, transformed the entire dynamic of their date. Psychology behind it: attraction is rooted in state transfer. If you can make her feel alive when she's with you, she will unconsciously associate that feeling with you. You won't just be another face. You'll be the man who awakens her, who reminds her of how good it feels to feel alive. Her brain will make that connection, and it's a connection that doesn't fade easily. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." In other words, when you ask her to remember the last time she felt alive, you're reframing her reality. You take her from a place of boredom and routine and transport her into a space of possibility, excitement, and depth. That's the power you hold when you can shift her mindset. You see, this isn't about impressing her with how alive you are. It's about asking the right question that forces her to reconnect with the aliveness within herself. You don't need to tell her about all the exciting things you've done. You don't need to boast. The secret is in the question that challenges her to rediscover that thrill. It's in you bringing out that high value, masculine energy that she craves, the kind of energy that makes her feel like she's on a journey with you, not just talking about trivial things. So here's the key takeaway: don't try to impress her. Instead, ask questions that make her feel something real, something deep. Ask the questions that elevate her state of mind, take her out of the mundane, and make her remember the best version of herself, the version that feels truly alive. That is how you attract women. That is how you become the man who stands out, not by showing off, but by showing her a glimpse of the vibrant life that she's been craving. And when you do this, your masculine energy will resonate with hers, making her chase you, emotionally and mentally. You must be the kind of man who transforms the space around him. You must be the man who reawakens the fire in her soul. Only then will you become unforgettable. Question 3. What do you think most people misunderstand about you? This is the kind of question that can change everything. It's dangerous in the best way because it cuts straight to the heart of what makes people tick. Every woman feels misunderstood at some point. Maybe she's seen as too beautiful to be taken seriously, too reserved to have a powerful voice, or too driven to still be feminine. These judgments stick, and deep down, she longs for someone who can see beyond the surface, the man who doesn't settle for the masks people wear. When you ask this question, you become that man. You're not just having a conversation, you're inviting her to peel back the layers she's been hiding behind. You challenge her to show you who she truly is, beyond the projections others have placed on her. That's when the magic happens. Take David, for example. He's 55, been divorced twice, and jumped back into the dating scene. He was frustrated with the shallow conversations he kept having. Then, on a walk with a younger woman, he asked her this one simple question. She froze. For a moment, it seemed like she didn't know how to answer. But then, slowly, she confessed that it was exhausting always being judged for her looks instead of her mind. She had never shared that with anyone. David didn't just see her, he saw the parts of her that no one had the courage to ask about. She later told him, "You're the only man who ever made me feel really seen." That's the power of a single, well-placed question. It bypasses the surface and taps straight into the heart. When you offer someone the chance to reveal their truth, you bond in a way that no surface-level compliment or empty praise ever could. From a psychological standpoint, this question is a tool for vulnerability. Vulnerability creates trust. It creates connection. As the Stoics knew, true strength is found in embracing authenticity and showing up with courage. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change." This question doesn't just show you her thoughts, it creates space for her to evolve, to open up, and to be honest in a way most people never allow her to be. You see, when she drops the mask, when she reveals the real her, she doesn't just feel closer to you, she feels heard. The bond you form goes deeper than anything she's ever experienced, not because you convinced her, but because you invited her to be seen for who she truly is. And that's the kind of connection that creates lasting attraction. Here's the key. Stop trying to prove you understand women. Stop with the superficial attempts to figure them out. Instead, start asking the question that allows them to show you who they truly are. The Old Stoic wisdom teaches us that the path to wisdom is not through answers, but through asking the right questions. And when you ask the right questions, you invite someone into the deepest layers of who they are. That's the mindset of the Stoicism win, to challenge yourself to always operate from a place of iron mind, where you don't just understand surface level answers. You understand the depths of the person you're with. And when you do that, you unlock a deeper, more meaningful connection. So, what are you waiting for? Ask the question. Be the man who can see beyond the mask. If you found this valuable, hit like, comment below, and share this video with someone who could benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom on building deeper connections. Comment to remember, I embrace vulnerability and see beyond the surface. Question 4. What's something you've never told anyone, but feel comfortable telling me? The power of asking the right questions is often underestimated, especially when it comes to building attraction and intimacy. One of the most impactful questions you can ask a woman is, "What's something you've never told anyone, but feel comfortable telling me?" This question isn't a casual one. It's a key that opens the door to real connection. While most men focus on bragging about their careers, possessions, or travels, the real allure lies in the depth of conversation. Attraction isn't built on surface-level displays, but on the depth of emotional connection that you can offer her. By asking her something so personal, you signal strength, not weakness. It takes a man who is confident in himself to handle the vulnerability that comes with such a question. It's not about ego. It's about creating a space where she feels safe enough to share something raw. Take the example of Richard, a 49-year-old man who was tired of being dismissed by younger women. One evening, on a walk after dinner, he asked this very question. She hesitated, laughed nervously, but then opened up about a childhood trauma. By the end of the night, Richard wasn't just another guy she went on a date with. He had become someone she trusted with her secret, someone who had earned her attachment. Psychology, particularly female psychology, calls this the disclosure intimacy effect. When someone shares something deeply personal, it strengthens the bond between them. The more she opens up, the more she invests in keeping you in her life. This isn't just theory, it's a proven psychological principle. The deeper the connection, the stronger the attraction. As Seneca wisely said, no man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom, in this case, is understanding that attraction isn't about charm or empty compliments. It's about trust. Once she trusts you with her truths, she will see you in a completely different light. To truly captivate her, shift your mindset. Don't fear the darkness of her past or the parts of her she's afraid to share. If you can stand tall in the face of her vulnerabilities, you become unforgettable. You must be the man who invites her to open up, not by forcing her, but by creating a space where she feels comfortable enough to share. That's the true psychology trick of attraction: vulnerability. By embracing it, you become the man who she can't stop thinking about, the one who holds the key to her heart. In the end, it's not the material things or superficial compliments that make her fall in love. It's the deep, meaningful questions that open her heart and create a bond that goes beyond the surface. Master this, and you'll master attraction. Question 5. What's the craziest thing you've ever dreamed of doing? This question is pure magic. It's playful, daring, and provocative all at once. It taps into her adventurous side, the part of her that craves excitement, but is rarely given the space to explore it. Deep down, every woman longs for a life that feels bigger, bolder, and freer. By asking this question, you're not just engaging with her, you're unlocking her inner desires, the ones she might have buried or neglected. Every woman has a dream that's just a little too wild, a little too daring for everyday life. And the man who can bring that dream to life becomes the one who embodies possibility for her. He becomes the one she associates with the potential for adventure and growth. Take Paul, for example. At 47, he thought he had it all figured out, especially when it came to younger women. He assumed they were all obsessed with partying and social media. But one evening, while having drinks with a woman, he decided to take a chance and ask her, "What's the craziest thing you've ever dreamed of doing?" She laughed, rolled her eyes, and confessed her dream was skydiving, but she had always been too scared to try it. Paul didn't hesitate. He leaned in and said, "I'll do it with you." That's when the magic happened. The energy shifted. She didn't see him as just a cautious older man anymore. Now, she saw him as dangerous, an exciting, unpredictable man who could lead her into the unknown. This question works on a psychological level because it ties you to her fantasies. You're no longer competing with other men who only show up in her reality. No, you've stepped into the realm of her imagination. And once you're in her imagination, you're firmly planted in her desires. Remember what Marcus Aurelius once said: "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." When you ask her about her wildest dreams, you're tapping into the size of her soul. You're revealing that you're a man whose presence can expand her world, not just fill the gaps in her day. The key here isn't to just ask about her routine, about the mundane details of her life. Instead, be the man who pulls her into her future. Ask her about the dream that keeps her awake at night. Be the man who brings her vision to life. Be the one who makes her believe in the bigger, wilder things that are possible. As a high-value man, you're not just talking about surface-level things. You are diving into the essence of who she is, pulling her into an adventure of a lifetime. By tapping into her fantasies, you're not just asking about her past. You're asking her to envision a future with you, one that's exciting, unpredictable, and full of masculine energy. In the end, it's not about being just another man in her life. It's about becoming the one who makes her feel something bigger, bolder, and more extraordinary. You're no longer competing for her attention. You've already captured her imagination, and that's where desire begins. So don't just ask about her day, ask about her dreams, and be the man who's ready to help her make them come true. If you want to be the man who pulls her into her future, not just her present, hit like, comment below, and share this with someone ready to step up their game. Don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing wisdom. Comment to remember, I am the man who opens new possibilities. Question 6. Who inspires you the most and why? This question isn't just a conversation starter, it's a doorway into her inner world. When you ask a woman who inspires her, you're not merely inquiring about her role models. You're unlocking a reflection of her deepest values and desires. It's an invitation for her to reveal the qualities she longs for in herself and the man she dreams of. You see, too many men fall into the trap of small talk, work, food, travel, music. It's surface-level chatter that doesn't evoke much. But when you ask, who inspires you, you trigger something much deeper. You spark her imagination. You connect on a level that most others never even attempt. This question places you in the realm of the men she admires, even if she hasn't said a word about them. Let's talk about James, a 52-year-old man who understood this concept well. On a date with a woman nearly half his age, he dropped this simple question between sips of wine. Her eyes lit up. She spoke with fire, her voice filled with passion. She talked about her grandmother, a woman who embodied strength and sacrifice. For the next 20 minutes, she went on, animated and alive with emotion, detailing the profound impact her grandmother had on her life. James didn't interrupt. He didn't offer a solution or a story of his own. He listened. And in that moment, without a word, he became tied to the image of her grandmother in her mind. Why? Because he didn't just ask a question, he invited her to reveal the best of herself. Psychology calls this value projection. When someone shares their deepest inspirations, they project those values onto the listener. By simply listening, James aligned himself with the very qualities this woman admired. He became an extension of her inspiration, silently reinforcing the very traits she longed for in a partner. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The lesson here is clear. When you don't seek to dominate the conversation with your own achievements, when you allow her to express what truly moves her, you project an aura of abundance. You become the man who is in control, not because you assert it, but because you exude it effortlessly. This is where the Stoic mindset comes into play. In Stoicism, we value wisdom over riches, resilience over wealth. This simple question shows that you're a man who practices self-control, who has a mind of iron and a spirit that seeks true connection rather than empty accolades. The Old Stoic wisdom teaches us that true power lies not in what we possess, but in how we approach life. So, what's the mindset shift here? Don't show her your resume, show her your curiosity. Instead of listing your achievements, show a genuine interest in hers. By doing so, you'll gain far more than her admiration. You'll gain her respect, her interest, and her trust. In the end, this will allow you to master the art of attraction, just as the Stoics mastered the art of self-mastery. Remember, a man with an iron mind doesn't need to talk about himself to be powerful. He needs only to listen and ask the right questions. By doing so, you give her the space to reveal her true self, and in return, she'll see you as a man who is truly in control of himself, his life, and the moment you share together. You must be the man who doesn't chase, but the man who draws greatness out of others. This is the essence of mastering life. Question 7. If you could relive one moment in your life, what would it be? When it comes to creating a deep connection with a woman, it's not about playing games or trying to impress her with superficial compliments. It's about asking the right questions that tap into her emotions and reveal her true self. One of the most powerful questions you can ask her is, if you could relive one moment in your life, what would it be? This question does more than just trigger nostalgia. It opens the door to her most emotional memories. These moments are often tied to joy, pain, or even victory, and by asking this question, you invite her to share a part of herself that few ever get to see. And here's where the magic happens. When she opens up, revealing a piece of her deepest self, you're no longer just a guy she's casually talking to. You're someone who has touched her at her core. Think about Alan, who was 56 and assumed he had nothing in common with younger women. But one evening after dinner, he casually asked this question. She paused, her eyes softened, and she told him about the last time she saw her father before he passed away. That one conversation stretched into 2 hours, and by the end, her hug was different. It wasn't just a hug from a date. It was the embrace of someone who had touched her heart. What happened here was emotional imprinting. The stronger the emotion she feels during an interaction, the stronger the bond she creates with you, often unconsciously. Men who avoid delving deep never get past the surface, and as a result, they remain forgettable. But men who have the courage to ask deep questions become unforgettable. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius: "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you guide her into her most vivid memories, you allow her soul to intertwine with yours, creating an almost magnetic bond. The psychological trick here is simple. Don't fear her emotions, embrace them. Guide her through the moments that shaped her and watch how she begins to trust you in ways that go beyond simple attraction. This is how you shift from being just another guy to the one who lingers in her soul long after the conversation ends. In the world of female psychology, emotional connection is the key to becoming someone truly unforgettable. Question 8. What do you value most in a man? This question is a game changer. It's bold, direct, and something most men are terrified to ask. Instead of playing games or dropping hints, you bring clarity into the conversation. Too many men fish for approval, waiting for the perfect moment to give a compliment. But when you ask this question, you force her to articulate her deepest standard, and in doing so, you distinguish yourself from the crowd. Take Patrick, for example. He's 54, sitting across from a younger woman who has an endless stream of men chasing after her. Instead of doing what every other man does, complimenting her looks for the hundredth time, he leans in and asks, "What do you value most in a man?" Her entire demeanor shifts. She stops scrolling her phone, giving him her undivided attention. She thinks for a moment before replying, "A man who keeps his word." Patrick simply nods and says, "Good. That's rare." In that instant, she looked at him with a new sense of respect. Why? Because in that moment, she felt like he was that man. From a psychological perspective, this question works because it shifts the frame of the interaction. No longer is it you auditioning for her approval, trying to prove your worth. Instead, she's now the one under the microscope. By asking this question, you force her to measure her values and standards in front of you, putting you in the position of the chooser. You become calm, unshaken, and masculine. You show her that you know exactly who you are, and you're not afraid to challenge her beliefs. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." This quote perfectly captures the essence of this moment. By asking her what she values, you're not just understanding her values, you're also revealing yours. You show her that you have a clear sense of direction in life, a strong sense of self that she can trust. You're no longer trying to fit into her mold. You're leading the way. In essence, the mindset shift here is simple. Don't fear her standards, lead her into them. When you do this, she begins to measure every other man she meets against you. You stand as the benchmark. You show her that you're a high-value man, a man with clear boundaries, unwavering masculine energy, and confidence that she can't help but respect. Remember, women are not looking for perfection. They're looking for someone who knows himself, someone who leads and stays true to his values. A high-value man attracts women effortlessly because he isn't afraid to be himself. He's comfortable with his strength, his desires, and his values, and that confidence radiates. So, when you ask her what she values, you're not just learning about her, you're proving that you've already passed your own test. You've already set the standard. And that, my friend, is how you become unforgettable. You don't have to chase her. When you lead with clarity, when you show her your masculine energy and unshaken resolve, she will start chasing you. So, don't hesitate. Be bold. Ask this question and let her see the real you. If you've made it this far, congratulations, you're already stepping into a realm most men never reach. While others stay stuck in shallow waters, you're diving deep, building connections that last. Don't be the man who simply schemes the surface. Be the man who dares to ask the tough questions, to explore the depths of her soul. Comment below, I dare to dive deep and make my mark. Let's see who's ready to break through the surface. Question 9. What scares you the most about love? This question is a powerful tool that cuts through the superficial layers of attraction. It doesn't just skim the surface, it digs deep. Women, by nature, hide behind their smiles, filters, and walls. They crave love, yet fear it at the same time. Most men never venture into that space, leaving it unexplored and ignored. But when you ask this question, you stand apart. You touch a part of her that most men overlook. That's when you become unforgettable. Let's look at Stephen, a 50-year-old man. He asked this question during a quiet dinner. She laughed nervously at first, as if unsure of how to respond. But then she opened up. She admitted that she was terrified of losing herself in a relationship, of giving too much and receiving nothing in return. For the next hour, she shared wounds she had never revealed to anyone. And by the end of the evening, her feelings for Stephen went beyond simple attraction. She was now invested. Why? Because he dared to touch the most vulnerable part of her, something few men would ever have the courage to do. This is what psychology calls fear-based bonding. When a person shares their fears, they subconsciously bond with the one who receives them without judgment. It's why trauma often forms unbreakable connections. But here, you're intentionally creating that bond rather than letting it happen by accident. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you ask her what scares her the most about love, you're not just probing for her weaknesses. You're guiding her back to her own strength. And when you help her realize that power, she will forever associate that strength with you. So, what's the takeaway here? Don't just flirt with her beauty or talk about surface level topics. Dare to address the fear, the tension that she carries inside. That's where real attraction lives. True connection isn't built on easy compliments or shallow conversations. It's forged through vulnerability, trust, and understanding. When you embrace the old Stoic wisdom, you understand that strength isn't about always being in control or appearing perfect. It's about recognizing your own vulnerabilities and not being afraid to reveal them. The Stoics knew that mastery over one's fears is a key to emotional freedom. And this isn't just a lesson for women. It's one that you must embody as well. The Stoic mindset is about having an iron mind, a mentality that embraces challenges and faces them head on. When you do this, you create a magnetic pull, a connection that's impossible to ignore. It's a bond built on real, raw emotion, not on pretense. So, take this question with you. What scares you the most about love? Use it as a tool to uncover deeper truths, not only in others, but in yourself as well. Be fearless. Embrace the vulnerability. That's where lasting attraction, respect, and deep emotional bonds are formed. You must be ready to challenge the surface level and dive deep into the heart of the matter. That's the foundation of a relationship built on real connection, built on stoicism, on strength, and on a truly iron mind. Dare to ask the difficult questions. Question 10. What kind of story do you want your life to tell? This is the question that separates boys from men. It's not just about flirting or impressing her with witty banter. This question goes deeper. It strikes at the core of who she is. It's the type of question that reaches into her soul, forcing her to think beyond the ordinary and into the realm of significance. Every woman, whether she admits it or not, craves a life that tells a story worth remembering. And when you ask her this, you immediately distinguish yourself from the countless men who are only concerned with the superficial, the easy distractions. Imagine Anthony, a 57-year-old man, sitting across from a younger woman on their third date. She's been casually dating other guys, none of whom have left a lasting impression. But then Anthony asks her the question, "What kind of story do you want your life to tell?" She pauses. Her gaze softens, and for a moment, the room falls silent. Finally, she answers in a quiet voice, "I want to be remembered as someone who lived bravely." Anthony didn't need to do or say anything else. In that one moment, he became more than just another man in her life. He became the man who cared about her story, who saw her beyond the surface. Her attraction to him grew not because of the date, but because of the deep, profound question he posed. And that's how it works. Every woman wants to be a part of a larger story, one that transcends her everyday life. She wants to matter, to leave a legacy. Psychologically speaking, humans are narrative creatures. We don't just live, we live within stories. Our lives are stories unfolding every day, and the people we meet, the experiences we have, all become chapters in that story. The man who dares to ask her about her story is no longer just another figure in her narrative. He becomes the man who can help shape that story. That's why she finds herself thinking about you long after the date ends, replaying the moment when you made her reflect on her own journey. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." When you ask her about her story, you're not only showing that you're different from the others, you're also showing that you're a man of substance, a man with a vision. You're writing your own legacy, and you're inviting her to be part of it. The power of this question lies in your ability to make her feel like her life is valuable and meaningful. The mindset shift here is clear. Don't chase her attention. Don't play to her desires. Challenge her destiny. Challenge her to think beyond the ordinary, beyond the fleeting moments. Make her reflect on her purpose, on the story she's creating every day. That's what makes you unforgettable. And it's what draws her to you in a way no superficial conversation ever could. When you engage with her on a level that transcends the surface, you tap into the deepest part of her psyche. This is one of the ultimate psychology tricks to build connection, understanding female psychology and showing her that you're the man who can truly see her for who she is and for who she could become. As you continue on this journey, remember, to truly make her fall in love, you must become the kind of man who doesn't just exist in her story, you must become the kind of man who shapes it. This isn't about being charming or giving her compliments. It's about giving her the space to explore her own narrative with you. That's how you win her heart. In the end, the man who can help her write her own story is the man she will never forget. The man who doesn't chase her attention, but instead challenges her to dream bigger, live bolder, and step into her own destiny. That's the man every woman secretly craves. Hey, brother, before you go, I want to leave you with this. Attraction isn't about the perfect looks, the fanciest car, or the best lines. It's about presence, about having the courage to ask the questions that other men shy away from. These 10 questions? They're not tricks. They're opportunities. Opportunities for her to open up, to share her deepest thoughts, her desires, and her vulnerabilities. And when she does, you've created a bond that's hard to break. That bond? It's with you. Like Seneca said, it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. Women aren't looking for men who try to please them at every turn. They're drawn to men who stand tall, ask meaningful questions, and remain steady in their truth. So next time you're with her, don't waste time with small talk. Don't settle for the surface. Ask the questions that make her feel alive. Because once you get into her mind, brother, you'll be unforgettable. If you're ready to stop chasing and start leading, if you want to be the man who doesn't just attract women, but keeps them coming back for more, this is your moment. Drop a comment below with the phrase, "I am the story she'll never forget." Let me know you're part of this brotherhood, men who are done with games and ready to stand strong in their power. And if you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button. Every week, we're diving deeper into attraction, Stoic wisdom, and principles that will make you unforgettable. Remember, brother, it's not about chasing her. It's about becoming the man she can never forget.